If you're a first-time buyer right now, it probably doesn't feel all that affordable at all. If you're moving here from Calgary or another major city, you might look at Lethbridge prices and think, wow, those are actually really good. But if you already live here, work here, and have been watching the market over the last few years and trying to save for a down payment while costs on everything else have been going sky high, you're probably looking at the same prices and thinking, when did this get so insane? So today we're going to answer the question, is Lethbridge still affordable? By the end of this video, you'll understand where Lethbridge still makes sense, where buyers are getting squeezed, and what I would actually be watching out for right now if I were buying. I'm Andrew Atley, and I'm a realtor here in Lethbridge, and I spend way too much time looking at what homes actually sell for instead of what people wish they were selling for. Let's start with the obvious problem. Affordable compared to where? Because affordable is one of those words that people throw around like it means the same thing to everyone when it doesn't. If you're comparing Lethbridge to Calgary or one of the other major cities, then yes, Lethbridge can look very affordable. You can often get a lot more house here for the money, with less traffic, smaller city lifestyle. You're still within a couple of hours from the mountains, camping, hiking, or any of the other fun activities that comes with southern Alberta. But if you really miss those big city feels, Calgary's only a short 2-hour drive north. Funny story, I was actually chatting with someone the other day from Toronto, and she laughed and she said that I would drive for 2 hours in Toronto and I would still be in Toronto. But if you're comparing Lethbridge prices to the average Lethbridge income, the conversation might get a little bit more uncomfortable. Because the person moving from Calgary and the person who has lived here for 10 years are not looking at the market the same emotionally. One person's thinking, this is way cheaper than what I'm used to. The other person's thinking, I swear this house was $100 grand less not that long ago. Both of them are right. The weird thing about Lethbridge right now is that it can feel affordable on paper, but then still feel kind of brutal in real life. The biggest shift is probably in a starter home. A lot of buyers still have this picture in their head of what a first home should be. Detached home, decent yard, good location, updated enough that you don't feel like you're living in your grandparents' rec room, maybe a garage, maybe a finished basement, and then they start shopping. Then reality says, cute dream, but here's a 1970s bungalow with orange carpets and a furnace that's older than your parents, and a bathroom that's seen things, awful things. But that doesn't mean these homes are bad. Some of these homes are actually great buys in today's market, but the starter home has changed. So that said, the starter home hasn't disappeared. It just got older, smaller, more expensive, and possibly in need of a furnace. So when I hear buyers say there's nothing good out there, usually what they mean is that nothing matches the version of affordability that I had in my head. And that's an important difference. Because in Lethbridge, the trade-offs are very real. If you want newer, you're probably looking at something a little bit smaller, with a smaller yard, less mature landscaping, or maybe a higher price than you expected. But if you want more space, you might be looking at an older home that needs some updates. If you want a premium neighborhood, you're probably gonna have to compromise on size. If you want a lower payment, you may need to look into attached homes like half duplexes, townhouses, or areas that maybe you weren't really considering originally. This is where buyers get themselves in trouble. They shop based on the dream rather than the math, and the math matters more than ever in this economy, because the purchase price is only one piece of the pain. A lot of people ask, can I afford a $400,000 house? But the better question is, can I afford the monthly reality of owning that house? So we're talking things like mortgage payments, property taxes, utilities, insurance, maintenance, repairs, maybe condo fees, higher heating bills if the house is older, maybe some immediate updates if it's been aggressively loved since 1986. The purchase price gets your attention while the monthly payment punches you in the mouth. And this is why I think some buyers need to be careful, because sometimes buying the cheapest house is not always the most affordable house. If you buy a cheaper property but it needs windows, shingles, furnace, flooring, grading, electrical work, suddenly your emotional support budget for updates turns into a second mortgage. So was it really any cheaper? Maybe, but probably not. And then on the other side too, the prettiest house is not always the best buy either. Fresh paint and vinyl plank with some trendy looking cabinets can make a house feel safe, but if the expensive stuff behind the walls, above your head, or below your feet are being ignored, you probably need to slow down. This is especially true in markets where buyers are trying to stretch their budget. Now, let's talk about who Lethbridge still works for. Lethbridge can still make a ton of sense for people moving from more expensive markets who want a smaller city, families that want some more space, or people who like being close to the mountains without paying mountain town prices, and buyers who are willing to compromise intelligently. Keyword there is intelligently, because compromise is not always bad. If you're handy and you buy an older home that has good bones in a good location and that you can add value to, that's actually a really, really smart idea. Buying an older home at the top of your price range, but you ignored the $40,000 of upcoming maintenance, probably not the best strategy. Buying a smaller home in a good area because it fits your life and your monthly payment, that's smart. Buying the biggest house that you can possibly qualify for and having no money left to live, that's how your house becomes a financial prison. On another positive note, many buyers who have purchased homes in recent years or have owned one already have seen a massive increase in equity. Most of my investor clients are pumped to see that their investments are up since last year, some as much as 8% or more. That's like an extra $36,000 in your pocket on the average home. So here's my honest answer. Is Lethbridge still affordable? Compared to many places, yes it is. Compared to what locals remember, probably not so much. For buyers with a decent income, savings, flexibility, and realistic expectations, Lethbridge still offers a lot. For single income buyers, first-time buyers with limited savings, or people expecting even COVID pricing, it's probably going to feel a lot tougher. The reality is, your first home is probably not going to check all your boxes, but time in the market is way more effective than trying to time the market. The goal should be trying to figure out what actually makes sense for your life right now. That means actually looking at the monthly payments, the condition of the home, the area, the resale potential, and the compromises that you're willing to live with right now. Just remember that you're making a solid investment that continues to show strong growth over time, and that once you've built enough equity in this home, you can use that to leverage for your next one, and so forth. If you're trying to figure out what your budget actually gets you in Lethbridge, comment your price range down below or send me a message with the word budget, and I'll tell you what I would be watching out for in that range. And if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you in the next one.